Thank you very much. I'm called Winifred Masiko. I'm from Uganda. I am the Uganda Gender and Climate Change focal point to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And I also work in the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development in Uganda. I am the National Program Coordinator for the Joint Program of Youth Livelihood and Uganda Women Entrepreneurship. So I do two things. I do that as my role in the Ministry of Gender, but also under the Ministry of Water and Environment, Climate Change Department. I was requested to be the National Gender and Climate Change focal point. So I'm here in this meeting, invited by Agnes as to participate with other gender and climate change focal points from Africa. First and foremost, I must say that it has. We had a landmark in Belém to make sure that at least we have the Belém Gender Action Plan. I think that was a very success as far as negotiations around gender is concerned. And indeed, it is an improvement of the previous Gender Action Plan. So as Africa, I think we are trying to see how best this Gender Action Plan can be implemented. We need an implementable gap, and therefore it is important that we have a dedicated financing stream to make sure that the activities that have been identified in the Belém Gender Action Plan are implemented. And also this Belém Gender Action Plan departs from the previous one in a sense that it puts a lot more emphasis on national implementation of the activities. So parties are supposed to implement most of the activities that were identified in the Belém Action Plan, Belém Gender Action Plan. So it is important that we make sure, apart from the dedicated financing, make sure that the gender and climate change focal points are supported, are resourced so that they are able to implement and to carry out the activities that have been identified within the plan, because ideally they are the ones to make reports on the extent to which the countries are implementing the Gender Action Plan. Also, another issue that came up in this Belém is that there is an element of accountability. We need to make sure that this action plan is implemented and monitored and reported on. So that is also another area which I think is important for all of us to make sure that the activities that have been identified are properly implemented. Also, on the other hand, we also need to see how is this Gender Action Plan going to impact on the local communities, because the issue of indigenous and local communities and other areas that had not been previously mentioned in the previous gaps came up in this Belém Gender Action Plan. We have issues of local communities, indigenous communities, to make sure that they are reached. We also have other elements that came in, like reproductive health, unpaid care work, domestic violence. So all those things that have been impacting on women have started to be brought in the action plan, and we think it's a good opportunity to make sure that we focus on areas that really concern women, and usually where there is climate change, their impact is exacerbated.